so class, we'll be talking about photosynthesis using chlorophyll. What's the meaning of this? Explain yourself.
Bus.
What bus? You are late. I'm gonna mark all of you absent. Get out of class.
No.
Hi, Jake here. I'm here at the scene of NTU where students seem to be protesting the Tongta bus service. Let's hear what the students have to say.
Wow, Tongta services jialat, so slow.
I rather take 179.
You know we got kicked out by our prof because of this stupid bus.
It seems that the students are in a furor because of the Tongta bus service.
Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope that you all will consider ComfortDelGro as your next partner for transport services in NTU. Thank you.
Sounds good.
I think it's okay.
Okay, sure. Alright. Hi, we'd like to offer you a 1-year contract. You will be on probation period for this 1 year, but with the option to extend to a 5-year contract depending on your performance. We look forward to having you on NTU campus.
Hello everyone, we are Group 5 and today we'll be showing you how we analyze if Tongta's frequency is better or worse than ComfortDelGro. So the problem here is that many students are always complaining that Tongta's buses are really slow, the frequency is horrible and sometimes the buses come in pairs. So online reviews has also found that their ratings are as low as 2.7 stars out of 5. So looking into the specific reviews, we notice that numerous students are extremely unsatisfied with the frequency. What's ridiculous is that Tongta even responded to the negative feedback with join a private bus company and see how well we can perform. This is 岂有此理，简直横行霸道. So today we will be using statistics to find out if Tongta's frequency is as bad as it claims and compare it with ComfortDelGro. So we'll be conducting sampling, which involves the process of obtaining samples from the population. So to conduct random sampling, we have to ensure that the wait times meet the identical and independent distributed assumptions. So the identical distribution condition requires each of the samples to follow a distribution of the population and hence will be a representative of that population. As such, we'll be using the time between the last bus leaving and the current bus arriving at multiple bus stops in the school. We assume that these times are independently distributed. So this will ensure that our product is independent and identically distributed. So our data consists of 2 samples, the wait time for Tongta buses for 100 rides and the wait time for ComfortDelGro buses for 100 rides. So since the sample size of 100 buses arrivals is greater than 30, by CLT the distribution of the wait time will be closer to a normal distribution. As such, the greater the sample size, the narrower the standard deviation as shown in the diagram here.
Next, we will be testing whether the mean waiting time for Tongta is more than the mean waiting time for ComfortDelGro using hypothesis testing. Since we want to test whether the mean waiting time for Tongta is more than the mean waiting time for ComfortDelGro, our null hypothesis will be that the mean waiting time for Tongta is less than or equals to the mean waiting time for ComfortDelGro. And our alternate hypothesis will be that the mean waiting time for Tongta is more than the mean waiting time for ComfortDelGro. So we did a t-test to conclude whether the hypothesis is correct. Since the variance of Tongta is equal to ComfortDelGro, we can use this formula to calculate the t-value. We input the mean waiting time for Tongta and the mean waiting time for ComfortDelGro, standard deviation and sample size to find the t-value, which is equal to 5.42. Next, we can find the p-value and compare it against the significance level that we set, which is 5%. Since the p-value is less than the significance level, which is 5%, we would reject the null hypothesis that says that the mean waiting time for Tongta is less than the mean waiting time for ComfortDelGro.
Thank you, Calista. Using the data that we collected, we were able to run a multiple linear regression to determine independent variables which influence the wait times for ComfortDelGro and Tongta buses respectively. We reasoned that drivers' familiarity, as drivers rated themselves from 0 to 100, would decrease times between bus arrivals, while inclement weather, 1 for raining and 0 for not raining, would increase wait times. The number of cars within 100 meters will reflect the traffic condition. The higher the number of cars on the road, the longer the expected wait times. Likewise, whether the buses were arriving during peak period, i.e. when students were leaving their classes, 1 for peak period and 0 for off-peak, That would also affect the wait times. Finally, we also thought that the more years of experience the drivers had, the shorter the waiting time.
Thank you, Jake. And now I will interpret our regression equation. An increase in 1 point of familiarity will lead to a decrease of 0.24 minutes of waiting time. 2.32 is the average difference in waiting time between when it's raining and when it's not. With one more car in the street, the waiting time for such bus will increase by 0.11. And 3.45 is the average difference in waiting time between when it is during peak hour and when it's not, from 10:30 to 2:30. And with each additional year of experience in driving bus, the waiting time for such bus will decrease by 0.05 minutes. We also have the same interpretation for Tongta bus, and therefore with our regression analysis, we can conclude that the bus waiting time variation is mainly due to weather condition and whether it is in peak hour or not. Moreover, the difference in coefficient between Tongta and ComfortDelGro can be mainly attributed to the fact that ComfortDelGro buses are electric bus with touch-node facility with good GPS system and smaller in size, faster speed. Hence, external factors such as bad weather condition and number of cars on the street might not affect the waiting time of ComfortDelGro bus as significant as compared to Tongta, which has outdated furniture and technology, big size but slower in speed.
When running our multiple linear regression, we found that the values we obtained actually had a p-value of less than 0.01, meaning that they were statistically significant. However, this was not true in both cases of ComfortDelGro and Tongta for years of experience. It shows that years of experience was not statistically significant, and we couldn't conclude, in fact, that years of experience of the bus drivers had any contributing factor towards wait times.
Thank you, Jake. Based on our hypothesis testing and regression analysis, our group have enough evidence to conclude that the waiting time for ComfortDelGro is shorter than Tongta. Therefore, the change of transport provider from Tongta to ComfortDelGro is justified based on their probation period, and that NTU should offer the 5-year contract to ComfortDelGro. Based on the regression model of ComfortDelGro, our group came up with the suggestions that can help reduce the average wait time for buses. Since 4 of the coefficients are statistically significant and correlated with the waiting times at the 1% significance level, except years of experience, our group recommend the following improvement. ComfortDelGro can conduct training for bus drivers on a bus route around NTU to improve familiarity. Similarly, ComfortDelGro can invest on tires with better tractions or more efficient windscreen wipers to mitigate the effect of weather. For traffic, NTU can increase the car park tolls to cut down on the amount of students driving to school, reducing the number of cars on the road. And lastly, ComfortDelGro can increase the frequency of buses during peak hours to cut down on the average waiting time. So thank you all for your kind attention. That's the end. Thank you for the opportunity. I will not let you down.
Please use. Why are you late again? Didn't the bus service change from Tongta to ComfortDelGro?
Sorry.
Some people will never cease to be late.
Just a disclaimer, we should always be responsible for our own learning. As the saying goes, 做匠满眼工具差，人笨怪刀钝。